So we've gone over the prefixes, but now we're on to the suffixes. Now this depends on the part of speech, so the noun, the verb, or the adjective. So let's start by talking about the 6 noun declensions. So remember, nouns are people, places, things. And then declension just means variation. It means they're different suffixes. So a Latvian noun can be plural, it can be singular, it can be feminine, it can be masculine. It can also indicate ownership, location, and more. This ties back into the vekala example that I showed before. So here is a big scary table, and this has all 6 noun declensions. Now let's go over this table. So we have the declensions across here, so 1 through 6. Half of them are masculine, and the second half of them are feminine. Over here we can see the number. So 1 apple represents singular and 3 apples represents plural. Then we have the case. Now these are also big scary linguistic words, but we'll get into those later on. And this just tells you what kind of question it answers. I know that's a lot right now, but we'll go over it in little bits. Now let's talk about the 6th noun declension. As you can see, actually let's go back here. You can see that the first declension is masculine and it has S, and then it also S with a little hat. That's okay, it represents the same thing, it's just one of them has a hat, it's okay. Then the 6th declension also has an S, and so you might be thinking, wait, I'm supposed to tell the difference between these things. How am I supposed to tell the difference if these things are the same? Well, that's where the tricky part comes in. Unfortunately, you'll have to memorize the 6th declension words, but there are 65 of them and only 30 are common, which sounds like a lot, but when you compare it to the amount that are in the other declensions, it's not that much, especially since only 30 are common. So you just have to keep an eye out for those words, and that's all. But right now, because the 6th noun declension is a little confusing, a little weird, we're gonna set it aside for the most part, and we'll come back to it later, just to make the charts easy to understand so that you can learn them and then learn how to use them. Our first case is the nominative case. That is our base noun. Let's learn about the nominative case in English. This could be cat, cup, John, Latvia. They're not really part of any sentences, they're just our basic words. Then you can make them into a plural by adding an S. So cats, cups, obviously there's not going to be multiple Johns, and there's not going to be multiple Latvias. But now let's translate that into Latvian. We have kakis, krūze, Johns, Latvia. And then in the plural, kaki, krūzes. That's our base noun. Now, let's add in our suffixes, because there are suffixes here. You can see a suffix in each word in the Latvian translations. We have is, esa, ies, and these tell us very important information about the noun. This chart only looks at the nominative case, to simplify it. It also excludes the 6th declension, just to make this a little easier. We have kakis, and where do we find the is? Okay, let's go look. Oh, it's right here in the 2nd declension. It's a masculine word, and it is singular. So that's a lot of information that that little suffix just told us. So now we know that this is a masculine word, not necessarily that the cat is masculine, but that it is a masculine word and it is singular, and it is the 2nd declension. Then let's look at krūze. Let's find e. Oh, it's over here in the 5th declension, which now we know is feminine, and we know it's also singular. Then we look at Johns. Okay, let's find s, and we excluded this, so our only option is right here, and it is in the 1st declension. It's masculine and it is also singular. Same thing with Latvia. We look for it. A, fourth declension, singular, feminine. Now, let's move on to the plurals. So this is a bit of spoilers because we already know they're plurals, but we can verify that. We have an I. Now this could be a little bit trickier because there are 3 I's here. So we don't necessarily know which declension it is in, but we do know that it is plural and that it is masculine. Then for cruces, we can find, right here, ES, fifth declension, feminine, and plural. And that is why declensions are helpful. They give us so much information without additional words. And that's all for the nominative case.